Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about my Honda CX500 and why I'm selling it to progress with the A4. So yeah, as we're in between Christmas and New Year, just like to wish everybody and all of you guys that have stuck with me, following the channel and subscribed, a very Merry Christmas, and I hope you have a good New Year. For me, my brain's been turning and I've been thinking about how I'm going to get this finished. As I spoke about in previous episodes, this car has progressed into, or from, should I say, a budget build to a full-blown monumental task. Now, I've said it before, you know, it warrants it because of the sentimental value that I have with the car, being it was my granddad's. But if you've watched my episodes before, you'll know much about this. So let's move on to the Honda. Now, I've had the Honda for about 2.5, 3 years, and she was an absolute bargain. That was a £200 bike that had already been started and turned on its way into a brat bike. I went up to Selby, hired a van, and I paid £200 for it, which, you know, is an absolute bargain. I could have sold the tank for more. Always loved bikes. I've had a bike licence now for 13 years. I was on crossers and, you know, CVT bikes before then. I had a Kajiva Mito, I had little scooters and stuff like that, as well as CR250s. And the plan was always to get on a motorbike once I got a pay rise in my job, which happens after 3 years, which I've been in for 15 now. But life changes. Had a child, which was much more important than riding around on the bike, and cars took over. And as you probably have seen in the past videos, my Bora was that car which took priority over those years. And yeah, I just never got onto a bike. So once the Bora was done, after many hours on YouTube watching Cafe Racer and stuff like that, I decided I needed to build one. So yeah, after much searching and much looking, I found a bike produced by Sasha Lakic. He's a designer of everything, and him and his team are now producing these bikes for €55,000. So you can imagine the type of bike, and here is a picture of it. So that bike there was a reason. That's what got me in love with the CX500. There are others. I love the BMW air-cooled with the flat motors and many others. But Sasha's one was the one that I thought was the best base. Now with a bore that looked like this, the plan was to then make that look the same. I was going to go for the same colour paint. We were going to use a Mitsubishi Primal Red, which many people ask about, so if you're interested, that's the colour. I was going to do chrome wheels to match the polished BBS on the borer. We were going to go for a black and chrome engine. I was going to do a black frame, and we were going to have a biscuit sort of grip and seat to match it all, and I was going to use some of the people that I'd used before on the borer to produce parts for the CX500. We got there. After 2.5 years, I saw some bits. We have got a, from the US, Cognito Moto front hub. That's been laced with a wheel because the original CX500 wheels are two-piece riveted, Comstars, and they're awful. Same with the rear. I sourced the rear hub, again from Cognito in America. I had the wheel bought locally, very locally. And he got it sent off and laced up, so that was laced in the UK, whereas this was laced in the US. So US hubs, and that's the problem with a lot of this stuff going while we're there. A lot of the custom stuff is US, so you get US. The prices are good, but shipping and imports, astronomical. They really do make it hard. Many other bikes that I've decided for what I wanted to do were hit with that straight away, and that's what put me off doing them. Next up, we've got a Lewitt Custom. Lewitt Custom monoshock rear end conversion, which I did. You chop off the rear end, which would have had the twin shocks, and turn it into the monoshock, like so Sasha did. It raises the tank so it's level, because the Cafe Racer tanks, the rear ends and the front and the tanks should all be level. That's what predominantly shows that it is a Cafe Racer. Then, after being Sean, my unit buddy, we're breaking some cars. We started making a bit of money doing it, and time was for the front end. I had it custom built by a local company about 45 minutes down the road called Fast Stick Racing, and we have got a billet upper and lower, vice versa, grips, and it's all done between us. We designed the upper to house motor gadget, mini clocks, idiot lights, which is what they call them, so they're linked to tell you whether your lights are on, if it's in neutral, etc. And we machined parts to make it look how I wanted. I've also going back to bore and minimalist and making sure it's all down to an idea. All the bolts that tighten up to the forks are at the rear, which originally he had put them at the front. And I was like, no, I want to clean up the front end. I don't want to see any bolts, so they're all at the back to keep the front end clean. And that's really where it stopped. Had the front end put on, and it was always planned to be done once something else was out of the way with, and the borer was out of the way. But then the Audi turns up. And this is the problem with this bike. For 2.5, 3 years that I've had it, even when I had the borer and the borer was done, there was a next progression with the borer, and it then took precedent over the bike. So the bike was pushed to the corner again. Before you know it, there's a blanket over it and you forget about it. Once the borer got to that point where it was done, and I was decided to sell it, I was like, right, let's get the bike done. And that's when we bought the front end for it. But then, this little beauty came into our lives, and it's again been pushed to the corner. So I've been doing some saving, I've been doing a lot of work, I've been doing a lot of wheeling and dealing, trying to get the money together to do the Audi, and it's just progressed to a point now where I do need more money. You know, the engine is going to be, I've said this before and I won't say it again because I don't want to bore any people that have been stuck with me. I've got 10 grand, realistically, to spend in the Audi to get it to the position I want to do it. Let's give you a little close up of those parts that you probably saw in the pre-roll that I talked about. There is the custom upper. So we have got the Moto Gadget, mini dashboard that houses everything in there that you would have had with a rev counter and your speedo, etc. We've got your idiot lights, which are indicators neutral, etc., etc. And that's all been custom built. It's a GSXR 750 forks, matched with their calipers and discs, fitted to a Cognito motor hub. And I can't remember the wheels, the rims. I think they might be XL, but they could be Sunrise. I know the wheels on back to front. So as you can see, in regards to it being clean at the front, there are no bolts on show. The bolts to tighten it to the forks have been moved to the rear. It's on All Balls Racing custom conversion bearings to fit the forks tube to the CX500 frame, so they're conversion bearings. We've got a Jeep. This is an absolute bargain, these are. They're readily available off eBay. LED rear light. I think I paid maybe £30 for it. We had the uprights made to fit it, and some Fast Tech Racing handlebars. Going round, as you can see, nothing's finished. I bought this sort of like, I didn't hear it running or anything like that. I'll tell you what, there's a picture of how it looked. Look at Customs, monoshock, ER500, rear shock, Cognito Moto, rear hub conversion. These are shaft driven, there is no chain. The shaft is down through here. They're wheelie monsters apparently. And then it comes with this bracket, which you mount a Ducati Monster rear caliper to. And we've got a 4.25 rear wheel. And that V just looks beastie. I don't want to sell this. And here's the parts. Motor Gadget. Blue. You can buy that so you can have it in your glove, so you can start the bike with no other way other than the little chip in your glove. We've got all the spare parts from the original rear hub. Fairings, we've got parts, rebuilt carbs. There's the original clock, so you can see how minute it gets with a Motor Gadget. Bit of 3D printed for the Motor Gadget. And parts, we've got original booklets, we've got stainless steel bolts, we've got spare all ball stuff, parts upon parts for parts. And yeah, these are billet foot controls as well. So yeah, and that's all for the cause. All for the cause of that. So I'm speaking to somebody right now, and it looks like she is on her way to being sold. He's now going to be pricing up collection service. He's up Manchester way. He's personally just bought a bike from Rejuve Motorcycles, which is who I got the tray from and the foot controls. He's bought one of their demo bikes. But with the demo bike, it hasn't got the spoke wheels, it hasn't got the upright forks and a few other bits. So what he's going to do is buy my bike basically to use my parts, which I have used or obviously bought for it, on his, and then he's going to make this into an original bike to sell on with a few little trick bits here and there, of course. But yeah, so this bike is going to fund the A4. Now, a lot of you follow this channel because of the A4, so let's give you a quick update. Nothing's changed. Obviously, Christmas has just been. But as I've been up here most of the day, I have had a little walk around and we've pulled the engine out. Obviously not out of the car, out of the corner. A friend of mine, Luke Miller, has donated an 06A, which with mine it isn't. So it has an internal water pump, not an external water pump. And I've been told that they are the better block to use. So for us and the A4, the next step, can I just say, fitment. The next step will be to talk to Pro Racing Chelmsford about getting some internal parts. I'm going to build the engine, I've decided. after the last episode, you would probably hear me babbling on, because I'm really good at babbling. What I was going to do, what was next. What was next? So I think, get the engine done. This block that I'm being given, so I'll have an 06A block. I'll have the AEB head, which is a big port, match M2 together with some cool internals that'll be rated for 600 brake horsepower. So it'll all be good block-wise. Then we're going to get it built and painted. I can then start bolting shiny parts that have been shiny for so long. We've got intake manifolds, we've got rocker covers, we've got the front pipers. Says it on the box. We've got all those parts that we can bolt to it, so I can get the engine in the bay. Once the engine is in said bay, oh, it looks so good. I can start working out header tanks, piping, before I really commit to sending it off for paint. Because once we've got the engine in, we can then mock it up. The engine will be done, so I can drop it in on some mounts, pull it out, because obviously we're not going to do anything else. We're just going to get it in, start mocking some bits and bobs up, so I can get it to the position where I know that I'm good for paint. I don't want to paint it and then make a mistake. I'm worried, I really am worried about, I'm going to go for a GT25 550 Garrett Turbo. It's been recommended by Pro Race and another friend, James. So I'm just curious, really. This is my main concern, is obviously with the arch tubs, I've taken up a lot of room. Am I going to have an issue? If not, I'd have to do a little dome out of there to accept the turbo. And these are the little things that I need to do before paint. Intercooler piping. I mean, where the hell am I going to put the intercooler piping? Really thought this through, haven't we? But these are all the sort of things you do. So I'll get it all mocked up. But yeah, we're going to pick up some parts this week. Some interior parts. So I'm hoping, with Mikey, he's now sorting me out some bits and bobs. I've got some, well, I won't tell you what I've got coming, just in case. It makes it a bit more exciting. But I can then get the dashboard in. We have got a loom, facelift loom, that mounts to a 1.8 turbo. So I'm hoping that will cause solve my interior grief. And then I can start mounting everything up in here. I can put steering wheel in, dashboard, centre console. I can finalise the cooler work. So I can get, you know, other than the seats, which I am going to be changing, I can get the interior done. And the interior doesn't really warrant for anything else. Yes, I know I've talked about getting a cage, but I'll get that at a later date. But if I can finish the interior, that's a massive tick. So I can just say, right, interior's done. And they're those feeling moves that you need when you're building the car. You just need to see progression. You see it and you're like, oh, that's that ticked off. Same with the engine. Once that's done, I know that I'm closer. And anything else external to the engine, so be it. You're bolting them on. You know, you're getting somewhere. Paint the engine bay, stick the engine in. I know I'm finalising, I'm getting closer. And then we can send her off, which is the main reason for selling this, is so I can paint that. Also, I'm looking, so if you're listening, I need help. I'm searching for a caliper. I bought them, they're wrong. I need one of these. This is right. 996 caliper. I need a 425. 996, 351, 425. I've got the 426 at an absolute bargain, 120 quid delivered. I am selling them, 986 calipers, if anybody wants them. So yeah, once I get them done, I can get that bolted up. We're heading in the right direction. But for now, say hello and say goodbye, hopefully, to the CX500. You've seen it now. It's unlikely you're going to see it again. Would have been cool, but with the M3 now in my possession, that's already taken some money because I can't help myself. Bought parts for that, and I've got a video planned once I get it back on the road, because I mean, looking at it out there, it's bloody horrible. There's no point driving 420 brake horsepower worth of car in this sodden, horribleness. So we'll wait till the summer, and we'll get well, not the summer, spring, and I'll do a video on that to showing you what we've got bought and fitted. So if you're into M3s or BMWs in general, keep an eye on this channel. We'll get my M3 on here. Hopefully we've got this in the future episodes too. As you can see, there's another engine there waiting to go in. Tom, who you've seen on the channel, who helped me with the Raptor lining, he's got some plans for this. We spoke about using the channel to film it, so we'll probably be getting that done future-wise as well. So there's plenty more to come. But for now, as always, thanks for watching. Give us a shout, give us a like, even better, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks everyone, bye.